All right, welcome back to Double Fries No Slaw. Wednesday night, the preview episode for Kent State. Richie, it sucked taking last week off. You had all this excitement around the Bama win and then a 77-point performance. And then it was nice we said this on Sunday, but it was nice to just kick your feet up and have a relaxing weekend. But it's nice to be talking about actual football again. If I look up this way a ton, like our soccer team's playing UNC tonight on the road. So if you guys catch my eyes, like pulling a crazy eyes or something over here, that's why. So don't be calling me out in the comments like, what the heck's TJ doing? But Richie, how's your week been so far?
Pretty good. And, I think we have another Saturday where it's just kick your feet up on the couch and enjoy the weekend.
It is.
I think it's one of those games. Really looking forward to it, though. Just, we're only guaranteed 12 of these a year unless there's a global pandemic. Then, you may not get 12. But, there's 56 weeks in a year, so you're only guaranteed 12 Florida State football games. That's all we got last year. A lot of them were miserable. I have a feeling this one will not be so miserable.
Yeah, no, this feels like another fun one. We'll talk about Kent State a little bit. We'll talk about what we want to see from the team. We'll talk a little bit around the country, different things going on. This isn't super in depth. We're not doing a Kent State film breakdown this week. Clay, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but Clay's done a couple of film reviews for us. Clay Fink, formerly of Noles 24/7. Yeah, we're not doing that for Kent State. This is a game that Florida State ultimately should just come out and win, just be the better team, keep everybody healthy, and move on to a Friday night game against Virginia, which Richie and I have continued to say is ultra important. Double Fries No Slaw brought to you by Guthrie's. You can visit all three of their locations, 1818 West Tennessee Street, 2550 North Monroe, and 2870 Appalachie Parkway. We always appreciate Guthrie's for their support. If you're going to town this weekend, got a friend that, again, I told you guys this on Sunday, but not to re-shout somebody out, but dire week here. If you've got kids or something, take them by Guthrie's before or after the game. Great times. Appreciate them for all of their support. Richie, some news. I talked about this yesterday in like a live morning show, but won't go super in depth. But both Squirrel White and James Williams listed as starters on the depth chart. Not that Mike couldn't just be putting them on there, but there are some guys that are not listed on the depth chart due to injury. And so it would be a little bit of a departure from Mike to say guys are available by releasing that and then not having them out there. Roydell Williams not on the depth chart. Kevin Wynn, obviously defensive tackle, not on the too deep, though he would be had he not been injured. And tight end Randy Pittman also not on the depth chart, all due to injury. I think Wayne McCoy might not be on there either, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. But I think that means they're good to go. Now, again, Mike could be playing games. I don't know why you'd play games with Kent State, though. So I'll say he's probably not. But if they're just a little bit nicked up, which you saw Squirrel get a little bit nicked up, and I know James looked like he was fine coming off, but that was a question that people had. I don't know that I would risk it. I might just leave him out anyway. I don't know if you have any thoughts on those two, Squirrel more specifically, but I think this might be a game where I just let people rest up if they're not 150%. Then I might just let them rest in this one, outside of maybe Tommy.
So I put a note in the show notes on my iPad here. Rest better than playing. I think that if they're not 100%, you're not going to need them to win this game. It's an opportunity to get some younger guys who you might need later down the line in the season into the game, or get them reps that could be valuable as the season progresses. So yeah, I wouldn't play them. And I don't know if Mike's messing with anybody or what, but maybe this is Mike 2.0 at Florida State, right? He's like, let me F with Kent State. If that's the case, it would be like, I don't know if you remember, there was something like 50 straight weeks where Tom Brady was listed on the injury report, and everyone knew he was playing every week, but they kept listing him as questionable. So maybe they're just doing this. So they're like, okay, we got to check out this guy. And maybe Mike thinks he can sneak in a younger guy who hasn't done much this season. And, they won't have a scouting report on him. College coaches are smart, so that I'm sure they're questioning it a little bit. Again, gamesmanship against Kent State would be awesome for me if Mike is actually doing that.
Just completely unnecessary and completely scorched earth if Mike is, gamesmanshiping the worst to maybe second worst. We'll talk about it in just a second. FBS team that exists out there. So let's talk a little bit about Kent State, though. We will try and break them down, try and preview them just a little bit. Listen, I've got some stats and stuff. I know that maybe this isn't something that is the most exciting for people, but we will talk about some of their key guys offensively and then just what they've been able to do defensively, which is not great. Richie, if you want to pull up their schedule, I didn't pull that. But while I'm going through some of this, Drew DeShields, their quarterback, is 35 of 57 for 513 yards. That's 61% completion percentage. He's got 4 touchdowns, no picks. CJ Montez is also a quarterback that's gotten 19 passes. He's completed 10 of them for 140 yards, 52%, a touchdown, and a pick. They've been sacked a combined 9 times together. Gavin Garcia is their leading running back, 45 rushes, 135 yards. That's a 3.0 average. He does have like a 60-yarder in there, so average is not great, minus that big one that he broke out. Doesn't have a touchdown. The quarterback will move a little bit. It's got 24 rushes for 61 yards. You take sack yardage out of that, and he's up over 3 as an average, so not terribly effective, but does have a couple of touchdowns on the ground. Cade Wofford, their leading receiver, has 7 receptions for 223 yards and 4 touchdowns. One of those was an 85-yarder, I believe, was a pretty long one. So again, you take that 85 out, he's not lighting it up by any means. And then Tariq Mulder, their tight end, has 7 receptions, tied for the team lead there, 89 yards and a touchdown. Their kicker, Richie, has missed his only field goal attempt of the season. It was within 30 yards. The bad gets worse when you look at this Kent State team. They are just not very good at anything. They have run in, Kent State. I asked you to bring up the schedule. I know they played Texas Tech a couple of weeks ago. They play us this week. They go to Norman, Oklahoma next. So it is just cash your checks, boys. I mean, just make the money and go. But defense has forced 3 turnovers. They've had 4 turnovers themselves. And so they are -1 in the turnover department on the season as a turnover ratio stat. They're 31% on third down, so not very good there. I'm finishing up here. Sorry to just kind of give depressing news if you happen to be a Kent State fan that's watching this. They are 135th out of 136 teams on FPI, only ahead of UMass. In the S&P Plus, Richie, you want to guess where they're at in S&P Plus?
136.
No, 162. They're behind several FCS schools, which Bill Connolly has included this year. For context, there are, like Richie just mentioned, 136 S&P or FBS teams, so football bowl series. They rank behind several FCS teams, lower division, North Dakota State, teams like that. Little bit of context around that number of 162. East Texas A&M was 313th. So they are significantly better than East Texas A&M. I don't think things will be quite as easy as they were there. 150 spots better, 151 spots if my math isn't terrible, but still pretty terrible. Like if you think about all the teams that Florida State could potentially schedule from the FBS, I don't know that you could get one that's much worse. Again, UMass is the only one that maybe ranks a spot ahead of them. So this should be a game, after looking at stats, looking at what they've done, looking at their opponents, where Florida State should have just an absolute ton of success. They should really be able to do whatever they want in this game. Again, maybe not as easy as East Texas A&M. I don't know that Florida State puts up 77 in this game. I don't know that walk-ons get in and push, Kent State around for the entire fourth quarter. But a game that I think Florida State will have a lot of success in. Richie, any thoughts on anything that I've rambled on about? Or if you want to talk about their schedule and results, that's fine too.
Yeah, I think the numbers kind of speak for themselves. Looking at their schedule, they did come out of the gates hot with a 21-17 win over Merrimack. Never heard of them, but a 4-point win over Merrimack. Can you look up where they're at in the?
It's on a screenshot. I'd never be able to find it. It took me 10 minutes to find East Texas A&M on it. So no, but I'd imagine in the 500s.
Yeah. So the early season momentum kind of came to a halt as they went to Texas A&M in Lubbock. They lost 62-14, but it was 55-0 after the third quarter.
And so then they won the fourth quarter. They won a quarter.
They won the fourth quarter. And then they bounced back big time, hosting Buffalo, winning 31-28. or losing. No, they did not bounce back. I guess it's still a bounce back from being down that much. But yeah, they lost 31-28. So to your point, not a good team. I'm not sure what the spread would be if they were playing East Texas A&M. I know you said it's about 150 or so spots difference in those rankings, but yeah, if Texas Tech, the number 24th ranked team in the country, can be up 55-0 at the end of the third, I think if East Texas A&M showed us anything, it's that Mike and especially Gus will not be afraid to take their foot off the gas. Yeah, you might be playing some lesser personnel as the game goes on, but they're going to continue to do what they do and get those valuable reps for those younger guys. So yeah, I just, it sucks it's great to be back after, taking a Wednesday off to talk about Florida State football and preview a game, but it just sucks that it's about Kent State because there's really not a whole lot to say.
Yeah, no, it's hard to, it's hard to get a lot of juice for this game, right? And, after last year, so a positive is you're going to exit this game with more wins than you had last season. And then we can finally put that to bed and not talk about it anymore. Although I guess if we beat Virginia, I'll be hyped that we doubled our win total in our first 4 opportunities. But yeah, Kent State's terrible, right? And if Florida State could play a C type of game and I still win by 25, right? 30, probably. The spread, you asked about how they'd compare to East Texas A&M. The spread in that game was 44.5, and the spread in this game is 44.5. So now that spread probably wouldn't have been as high without seeing Florida State score 77 points in their last contest. But yeah, I'd say maybe they're a 14-point favorite against East Texas A&M. That's the Pittenger Sportsbook. Like, I have nothing to base that on, but that's just kind of where I would guesstimate it at. So maybe before we scored 77, you might have thought that we were a 35-point type favorite against this team instead of 45. We'll pick that game later, but I believe in Gus, so I'm taking the Noles against the spread. I do think what is important is, and I wrote down some things here. I want to get Richie's take too. Is there anything specifically, again, you're going to win this game. You're going to win this game by a lot, even if you play terribly. I think you could lose this turnover margin by 3 and still win this game going away with no questions asked. You could make some mistakes. Tommy could throw a couple of picks. You could put a toss on the ground. You could give up a kick return touchdown. And the defense is not on that specifically, but the defense is still going to carry you and not let them score much. Shoot, they can't even, hit a field goal, through 3 games. Is there anything specifically you want to see in this game from FSU, though, Richie, outside of, a 50-point win?
Yeah, I'd like to see them, use this game as a scrimmage, understanding you're going to win most likely regardless, but not worrying about blowing them out. Just try and get the passing game going a little bit more. Tommy's been amazing, and he's his own unique quarterback, and that's the only reason why I would say maybe let Squirrel play for the first 2 possessions or first 3 possessions, just so they can continue to build that chemistry, because they've only played 2 games together at this point, and I think that's going to be a deadly combo potentially as the season goes on. So I would like to see them try and, I'll even use the word force the passing game a little bit. I know that's not Gus Malzahn's identity. He wants to run the ball first and throw. And if he can run the ball with throwing it 12, 15 times a game, he's going to do it. But at some point in this season, you're going to have to be able to pass the ball. So I think that's the biggest thing that I'm personally looking for.
I like that a lot. I like it mostly because I didn't write that down as one of my things. So I do like that. Getting in just as good of a rhythm as you possibly can. They certainly opened it up and they threw some bombs. I think that once you get up enough, you do try and stop passing it because, you're going to run it every time. And so you're just trying to shorten the game and let the other team get out. But yeah, I like that they did that against East Texas A&M. And you've got a little bit better opponent who does have 3 interceptions on the year. I'm certainly not saying that their secondary is going to get you ready for anything else that you're going to see this year. But I do like that a lot. I think it's intangibles. I think their effort and their discipline were really, really good against East Texas A&M. And maybe East Texas A&M was just, and it was good against Bama too, don't get me wrong. But maybe East Texas A&M is just so bad that it just looked like our effort was elite. But man, I mentioned this when that game happened. and we were recapping on that Sunday. I mean, I really liked that a couple of times they got 8 and 9 yards on first down and we didn't let them convert there. I really like that kind of effort. I'm not saying you can do that every time. I think Kent State's a little more capable to go get 1 yard if they need to, but I really liked the effort in a game that, let's be honest, nobody really cared about. And I want to see that again against, not a good opponent, but an opponent that's, if they're 313 and you're 136 or 160, whatever, that's about, they're about twice as good, right? In a 1 through 300 level. So I would like to see the effort. The discipline's really important too. This is a game that, you're coming off of a bye week. You're playing an opponent nobody cares about. Everybody knows you're going to win this thing. This would be the biggest upset in FSU football history. And so, I have no worries about that. But you are playing a team that you're going to beat and beat by a lot. Be disciplined. Do the little things right. You're probably only, if it's anything like that East Texas A&M game, you're probably only, as the starters, getting 5 or 6 drives, right? And so if that's the case, I want to see you score on 5 of those first 6 drives. I don't want to see a punt in the first half. I want to see Florida State get up big and get guys rested. I'm okay if this thing goes to the half at 35-0 and whatever happens from there happens from there. I'd like to see the backups play well, but I don't really care, right? Get a big lead, get out of the game and get to UVA. And then again, you're coming off a bye week. So you've got 2 bye weeks this year. I don't want to say that just because you come off a bye week, good or bad right now, that it's how you're going to come off the next one. But I do think it's a data point for later in the year when you come off another bye week and you got to go play. Who do they play off the bye week later? Clemson, maybe? But either way, right? I would like to see them come off this bye week well. And that's important to me too. So those were my few things that I want to see. I don't know if you have anything else.
Yeah, I just thought of one more thing. One thing I'd like to see, Kent State will be punting the ball a ton. I would like to see 100% fielding rate in this game.
I like that.
I know their punter's probably not very good, but he's still a Division I punter on scholarship. I've gotten flashbacks of Tavares McFadden. If you go back to 2017, right, where he just let every punt bounce, he would just point at it and tell people to get away, and we would lose literally some games close to 100 yards of field possession just by not fielding the punt. So if someone doesn't want to catch it, I'd rather have someone who's going to be sure-handed in fielding every punt than someone who refuses to catch them and but has that explosive play potential to take one back to the house. You need to win the field possession battle, and that's not going to happen. That will happen in this game, but against Virginia, if you muff a punt or back away and it hits one of your teammates and we lose it, that's a potential game changer. So fielding punts is a big deal for me.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's a really good point. And it's been very few complaints about this year. That has been one that I think we've kind of said, like, all right, man, can we get this cleaned up? Like, this is Florida State. Field a freaking punt and let's go. So yeah, I'm all about that one. I like that. I like that call, Richie. All right, let's quickly do some picks. Now, I will tell you this, and I see some of the comments, injury free. Yeah, I didn't mention that and really should have. Yeah, that is certainly the most important. Get out of this game. I don't want to say I don't care if you just win by 10. Yeah, you need to win this game and you need to have some style points in it. But yeah, I mean, you can't have anybody getting hurt, and that's what's most important. And they got out of the East Texas A&M game relatively healthy. If Squirrel's out there and ready to go, they need to get out of this game similarly healthy and win by a ton, because we certainly need that. Let's give Guarding Gold some love while I do something else, and then we'll go on and make some picks for Sleeper. Richie, guardinggold.com. Make sure you're using code NOSLAW. Have some friends going to the game this weekend. Of course, I told them, make sure you stop by Guarding Gold. We appreciate Guarding Gold for all of their support, all that they do for not only us, but for Florida State athletics. You can use our code NOSLAW, NOSLAW, to save 15% on your order. Appreciate Guarding Gold a ton for their support. and stop by there. I'm not wearing a Garnet and Gold shirt now, but I literally wore FSU stuff all week. So hopefully that's something you guys are doing as well.
My quarter zip is from Garnet and Gold.
Say what?
My quarter zip is from Garnet and Gold.
You know what? Richie, nobody loves a quarter zip quite like Richie. Can I just say
so many. I have so many.
Richie is the biggest quarter zip fan that I've ever seen in my life. And I mean, I don't mind him either. I'm just saying, like, Richie, I've never seen somebody who likes quarter zips as much as you. So shout out to you for getting the it's like 1,000,000 degrees outside though. How do you do this?
I keep it cool in my house.
I feel like a quarter zip. I know this is very irrelevant, and we'll get back to stuff that actually does matter here in a minute. But I do feel like a quarter zip like kind of dresses up the outfit a little bit. Like you could just wear a t-shirt with a quarter zip, and it looks like you're a little bit more put together.
It's perfect for Friday at work because my hospital is extremely cold, and especially winter golf because Florida winter golf, you know, it's not that bad, but just having a Q-zip on, it's something special about it for me.
All right, let's do some sleeper picks. Really, they have none from our game, right? And I don't remember if they had any from our game 2 weeks ago or not, but they have none from us. So we're doing all of these. Can you guess what game we're doing?
I have no idea.
All right, we're doing Florida, Miami. So that's what we're doing here. We'll pay some attention to what they've got going on.
I should have known that. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually did think you'd have that. So this is the point and laugh game. Doesn't really, I mean, I'd prefer Miami win just for game day, but we get to point and laugh at somebody after Saturday. So we will be 3-0. I can't guarantee that everybody else is undefeated, and maybe Florida is just completely in the dumps after Miami beats the heck out of them. So DJ Lagway, more or less 226 passing yards.
Less.
I'm going to go more on this because I think they trail for a lot of the game, and I think he has to throw a ton. Now, I wish they had his interceptions on this, but they don't, unfortunately. But I'll go.
Do they do interceptions for anybody?
I mean, if they do, it needs to be for him. Like,
yeah. I mean, he only threw 5 last week. What are we talking about?
Carson Beck, more or less than 265.5 passing yards.
I'll say less on this one. Again, I think Florida actually does have a pretty solid defense.
Yeah, I'm going to go less here as well. I like your call. I think they're really balanced, and I could see them having a good day on the ground, and that being why they're able to win this game fairly easily, but not have to go over that total. Jaden Baugh, Florida's running back, who they somehow go away from when it really matters most, an anytime touchdown, so more or less 0.5.
I'll take more. They're going to score 3-4 touchdowns probably.
Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have them scoring 4. You're crazy.
I'm taking the over on the game. I just see something crazy happening.
I'll go more as well, but I think Richie's crazy for going 3 or 4 touchdowns. But I hope he's right because I hope it's a good game. I'll go more. Hayden Hansen, 35.5 receiving yards, Florida tight end. They love this kid, and they throw him the ball way too much with as many 5 stars that they have out of wide receiver. I'll go more on this one.
I'll go less. I think, they go back and look at game tape and see, we have so many other very talented options out there. Why are we forcing the ball to a tight end? And it's not like he's, Bowers from Georgia a few years ago.
Mark Fletcher, Miami starting running back. Again, anytime touchdown, so 0.5 more or less. I'll go more here.
I'll go less on this one.
And then this is a pick one. So of Florida's wide receivers, I'm going to name all of them. Aiden Mizell, Eugene Wilson, Kanan Daniels, Vernell Brown III, and Michael Sturdivant Jr. You can just pick one of them to score. They all have a 0.5 anytime touchdown, so it's a more or less on all of them. You can just pick one that you think scores.
Read them off again.
Aiden Mizell, Eugene Wilson, Trey Wilson, Kanan Daniels, Vernell Brown III, Michael Sturdivant Jr.
I think Wilson's most likely.
Mizell scored last week, so I'll take Wilson in this too. Actually, I'll change it up for you. I'll say Vernell Brown scores a touchdown.
Okay.
He's really talented. I don't know if that counts for punt return touchdowns or not, but he's really electric there as well. Make sure you use our code DFNS on the Sleeper app. Get a 100% match up to $100 with our code. Make sure you check out their terms of use for details because terms and conditions do apply. All right, Richie, let's pick some games, and then we will give a prediction for our game. Texas Tech is a 3.5 point underdog on the road at Utah. That's a lot of portal money to be an underdog against a 5-7 team. Who you got?
Utah is a tough place to play. I know Texas Tech is number 24 in the country. Give me Utah.
I will take Utah as well. I think Utah gets it. Oh man, 3.5. No, I'll take Texas Tech to cover, Utah to win. So it's razor thin. Harlan, can you jump over and do that other thing real quick? Sorry, I know that's just interrupting our show, but
are we taking the points or straight up?
No, the points.
The points. Okay. I'll still take Utah.
Auburn's a 6.5 point favorite at Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma here.
Yeah, 100%. I don't understand that line, which means Auburn's probably going to cover.
Yeah, or win when everybody bets on Utah or on Oklahoma to cover. Yeah, I like Oklahoma to win here and cover. Michigan's a 2.5 point favorite at Nebraska.
This is not the Michigan of a few years ago. Being on the road, Nebraska, their fans always show up. Give me the home team here. I'll take the Huskers.
Yeah, I'll take Nebraska outright. I mean, at 2.5 points as an underdog, I'll certainly not going to say they lose by 1 at home. So I'll take Nebraska to win this. Missouri is a 9.5 point favorite against South Carolina. The game is in Missouri. Lenore Seller's probably playing. So good news for South Carolina there. I don't think it matters. I think Missouri wins this by 10 or more.
Any SEC game, and I know people that hate the SEC chest thumpers are going to hate this. You never know what could happen. I think that's too many points for at least a decent team. I'll take South Carolina.
Illinois is a 6.5 point dog at Indiana, a ranked matchup in the Big Ten. I know this is not the sexiest matchup that you could imagine, but a ranked on ranked matchup. Illinois 6.5 point dog at Indiana.
I think Illinois is the better team, even on the road. I think they win this game outright.
Dang it. I wish you wouldn't have said that. Yeah, no, I agree. I think Illinois wins this game on the road. So Signetti needs to prove me wrong. Actually, no, I want to disagree with Richie. I'll say Indiana wins this, but Illinois covers. I'm switching my pick. Earlier today, I just had a vision, and that vision told me that I'm taking Indiana. So shout out to that vision. And then the rivalry one, Florida is a 7.5 point dog on the road at Miami. I like Miami to cover this one.
What time's kickoff on this one?
7:30 in Hard Rock.
Yeah, and we always give Miami fans crap about their attendance and how their fans only show up for big games. But when it's a big game at night, they show up, and trust me, they're highly lubricated.
I don't know if that's the right word.
I might have used the wrong one there. They're drunk. I'll put it that way.
We're going to get canceled. Intoxicated.
We might
be the one you were working
intoxicated. For. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I definitely think Miami, I think it's going to be a really tough environment. I think DJ Lagway is going to be in his head entirely after last week and the performance he gave us. I think Carson Beck has been in big games, big environments frequently, and Miami has a better roster. I think I don't want it to be because I want to be able to watch it till the end. However, I think Miami, I'm putting Florida on blowout alert. Like, this game could get ugly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they win by 10 plus. I really like, which means Florida keeps it close. But I do think Miami wins the game. I would expect it to be at least 10 points, and Miami wins fairly comfortably. I think Florida's defense will keep them in it, but after watching 3 games of each of them play, I don't see how this could happen. I will be watching this on the way home, though, from Tallahassee. Pull up the iPad and point and laugh at somebody. So, all right, last one. Florida State's a 45.5 point favorite against Kent State. I'll take us to cover. We can do scores in a minute, but you got us covering or no?
No. Oh. I think it's close. I just think, with Mike Norvell knowing that we have a short week, and we see that in the NFL all the time. If a team has a comfortable lead on a Sunday and they play on a Thursday, you start seeing players get taken out a little earlier. That's why, pro tip, avoid starting fantasy players on a Sunday if they play the following Thursday, because there's chances are the reps will be limited. I could see something like that. And if the lead gets out of control here, I could see a couple late touchdowns. We talked about the Texas Tech game where they were up 55-0 and ended up being outscored 14-7 in the fourth quarter. I say no cover. I'll say 52-10. So they just missed the cover.
Harlan does not have us covering either because both of you guys are haters. He's got 45-10 FSU. I'll take the cover. 59-3. FSU wins and covers. No spiked baseball. I'm actually, last time I did predict a spiked baseball, so that's actually why I'm giving them the field goal here. 59-3. Florida State wins. Covers easily. I just have a lot of faith in the defense keeping them out. So we'll see. Maybe they get some stuff in the fourth quarter, like Richie says, and make it a little closer than it should have been. But Noles win and win big on this one. Yeah, I will clip that part there, Yanni. I cannot believe. Yanni's from across the pond. So shout out to all the people. Shout out to all the people that listen that are not here in the great state of Florida. I know people that live. You guys listen from all over. We've got friends in Tennessee that listen, friends just all over. And again, across the pond. So shout out to him. Any shout outs before we get out of here, Rich?
None really. Shout out my wife. She's continuing her nursing school, has a midterm this week, and she is very nervous. So I'm thinking about her.
There is nothing I would rather do less than school right now. So yeah, shout out Lindsay.
Wait, I just need to say this. According to Google AI, lubed up in the context of alcohol refers to being under the influence of alcohol.
I'm not clipping that part, bro. No, you said well lubricated. Like that is I've heard that, but come on, man. Like that's a wild thing to say on a Wednesday night, man. There's people in church right now.
This is a family show.
Yeah, gonna get us canceled. Yeah, again, I'm a psychopath, so I'm watching a ranked matchup between Florida State and North Carolina right now on Watch ESPN. So go check them out if you're done watching us and you need something else Florida State to watch. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. Quick show today. Not a lot to talk about with Kent State. Florida State's going to win big. It's just how big do they want that number to be? We'll find out at 3:30 on Saturday. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. We'll talk to you soon. Go Noles.